just days after the return of Vince McMahon to the WWE Co-CEO, his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, resigning from the pro wrestling organization. As a result of the restructuring, her father Vince is once again, and look what he did there. He's the executive chairman of the board. Now, despite the positive tone of her resignation, the announcement during an employee meeting last week, the optics continued to suggest tension between father and daughter. This past spring, Stephanie McMahon's resignation came amid an apparent smear campaign against her that appeared to come from within WWE. I mean, Hollywood can't write stuff this good. Now, with Vince McMahon forcing his way back into the promotion, Stephanie has abruptly stepped down in a move that, well, it was shocking, as her initial resignation back on May 19th. She returned to the company, of course, after her father retired, and you remember why, right? Vince McMahon retired as WWE chief executive and chairman in July amid a board investigation of sexual misconduct claims against him. That from the Journal, and there's more. Reported he agreed to pay more than $12 million in secret settlements, and that is since 2006. What was he hiding? What was he trying to protect? Background on how McMahon reclaimed control of the company. Mr. McMahon, who has majority voting power through his ownership of WWE's Class B stock, said he had told the company that he is electing himself and two former co-presidents and directors, Michelle Wilson and George Barrios, to the board, confirming an earlier Wall Street Journal report. Board had previously rebuffed a move to reinstate McMahon. You're not gonna do it? I'll do it myself. That's what he said. McMahon is 77 years old. He sent a letter to WWE's board in late December detailing his desire to return to the company he ran for 4 decades to help guide a strategic review process. The board responded last month in a letter to Mr. McMahon that it was prepared to initiate a review process and would welcome working with him on it. However, it said it unanimously agreed that Mr. McMahon's return to the business would not be in shareholders' best interest, okay? So he has communicated to the board that unless he has direct involvement as executive chairman from the outset of a strategic review, he won't support or approve any media rights deal or sale, the People said. Mr. McMahon had told People he intended to make a comeback at WWE. The Journal reported last month. He said he received bad advice from people close to him last year. They advised him to step down, according to people familiar with his comments. That from the Wall Street Journal. I mean, folks, this is juicy, okay? AB, why don't you weigh in now on how McMahon went about this, because I thought when he resigned that it was all just a setup and he's coming back. People like that, they don't retire, okay? They don't retire.
It's too much power, but he made his way back because he is majority shareholder, right? So he can sneak his way back in anyway, and most people can't really vote him out. He can do what he wants to do, but this is a situation where when you have power and maybe there's something going on in the background that you want to make sure you have your fingers on so that the right stories get told, or they get told in a way that is presentable for yourself, right? Because when you think about WWE, this is a brand, and it's not just a brand for wrestling community, but it's a family brand that he built, right? Which probably makes a lot of sense why baby Steph was like, let me up out of here because I don't want nothing to do with this drama my daddy got going on. And a little $12 million, he didn't get little hussies on the sideline, you know what I'm saying? So allegedly.
Yeah. That's the legal part of you, but we know what happened. Okay, and she knows her daddy too. She knows her daddy. There's more, AB, just hours after Stephanie McMahon had resigned from the company, Vince McMahon, rumored to have sold the company to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund in a move that will take the company off the public stock market. Now he is playing chess. Apparently the board was playing checkers, AB, okay? Back to being a private business it is. He doesn't like other people weighing in. There's just one man in charge, and he wanted it to be him. However, by any means necessary. If true, the company going private would mean McMahon would no longer be held accountable to a board of directors. I'm gonna do what I wanna do. Isn't that what he's saying? Yeah. WWE's working relationship with Saudi Arabia goes back to 2014 when the promotion held its first tour in the nation. It was expanded through the announcement of a 10-year strategic partnership between WWE and the Saudi General Sports Authority. That was in 2018, through which WWE promotes 2 annual shows in the country to the tune of around $50 million each. We can stay on this picture. Let's just hang right here for a minute. I don't really watch much wrestling, but I'll watch him. Okay, where was I? Along with TMZ sports reporter Ariel Helwani has claimed that no deal has been finalized. They're saying don't, pump the brakes a little bit. You see it right there, contrary to reports stating otherwise last night. There is no deal in place at this precise moment for WWE to be sold to Saudi Arabia's public investment fund or any entity, sources say. The organization is still exploring all options, developing. Weigh in, there's nothing, because not everybody, the WWE has many stars. A lot of them seek to cross over, right? We saw that with John Cena, The Rock, the Bella Twins. So AB, nobody could stop this, could they, on the board if they said, that's not really the partner that we want here. And the other thing is, what about the talent and the talent contracts? If I'm squeaky clean, not me, but other people, and they don't want to be associated with a government that they don't support.
But you're in a contract, right? So when you start with the contract part, it doesn't matter that you don't like the person that you have contracted with. Right? Doesn't matter that on day one when we signed this contract, you were Santa Claus and now all of a sudden you're Putin, right? You signed the contract, so you are stuck until that contract is over with. Or you can breach the contract, right? And you can take the consequences from there. In terms of the sale, though, I think a lot of this is just like you said, he's playing chess and they're playing checkers, right? So you make people wonder, like, what's going to happen with the company? How could we move? What are we going to do? If you have enough shareholders to come in to vote and say this is not what we want to do, that'd be great. But what we know right now is that Vince McMahon holds the key to a majority of this. So at the end of the day, it doesn't sound like there are enough shareholders to be able to vote him out or say this is not what we want to do. So if I'm looking at it from my perspective, there is something internal that's happening that you don't want the world to know. You want to have control over what information is being leaked. And that is why you're doing this. Because other than that, you have no reason to be involved. You got the money, you're good to go. You don't need to work. You're 70-some years old. Retire, have a good time, live your best life. You obviously was doing that on the side, but let's do it in the forefront, right? And then also, yeah, maybe he is trying to protect his talent, because at the end of the day, right, if this brand goes bad, or if information gets out and this brand is destroyed, well, then your talent goes with it, right? And we have seen corporations go down and they take people down with them. So it could be a little bit of both, but for the most part, I think it's real personal.
Yeah, it sounds definitely personal. And it sounds like if there were enough shareholders, do you want to be the next one who's a target of a smear campaign? Okay, I'm telling you, the daughter knows the father. When it comes to guys like Vince McMahon, here's also what I meant, because you're right, he's got the money and perhaps he is protecting dark secrets. Honestly, when you throw his picture up there and you look at the lighting, I mean, he approves everything, every storyline, every public strategy. I think he likes this measure of darkness, and I think probably 10-second, there it is. Okay, look at him. I mean, he wants to be a villain, right? Just like he casts these characters and makes them infamous, if you will. And he plays a good one, doesn't he? But it reminds me also that men who seek such power and fame and money, they don't want to go quietly into the night. He doesn't want to do that. We know a guy who somehow ascended to the White House in our country, okay? Because he didn't want to go away. It was never enough. Bankruptcies, it's just never enough for these guys, right?
Absolutely not enough, right? Like you said, they don't want to go quietly and being that villain, right? That is what people like to see. It brings the drama, it brings the, extra. And it goes along with the whole theme of WWE, right? It's all fake, including the owner. It's all fake, right? So, but we know what it is. We know that you're doing this because you love the limelight, but this is why you have to be careful with who you give power. And the reality is, if you will sell your daughter out the way you did and let her suffer the way she suffered, anybody could get it.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Okay, and there she's cast to look like an angel there. Okay, I'm sure she's not.
We know she ain't all the way either.
Thank you, but compared to her father. But when you said that perhaps he's hiding something, I get it. It's speculation. We won't know what's under the hood. Do you believe that it could be something that's not just embarrassing, illegal, perhaps?
Absolutely, right? Because these type of people don't mind being embarrassed, right? Like embarrassment is nothing. That is something easy to clean up in the tabloids. It ain't nothing but to pay somebody to switch it into your favor, right? But when you start having illegal activity, right? When we start seeing bribes, when we start seeing money laundering, just for example, I'm not saying this what he did allegedly, right? But what I'm saying is when you have these types of things, when you have these type of things, right, in the background that maybe people weren't necessarily privy to, or that you have swept under the rug for so long, right? Because this was a family business for a long time. And so when you have things like that, I think you are more willing to be like, wait, let me get in front of this because my daughter's not gonna protect it, right? And I don't wanna be exposed, so yeah.
It was very interesting, but I think you're onto something because if it was just embarrassment, it could just blame it on Meghan Markle like Camilla and them did, and be done with it. That's not what's happening here. It's a lot more, it's a shell game. It's very interesting, Saudi Arabia. Much more to come on that one, we'll continue to follow it.